As I sit down to reflect on my transition after being on hormones for 1 year, I'm kind of realizing that not a lot has changed. I mean, the biggest changes I can remember are just having to be on top of a lot of paperwork and growing a little bit of facial hair and learning how to shave and deal with acne and some joint pain earlier on from my muscles growing. But, physically, not a lot's changed on me. I started taking pictures at the start of my transition every day, and then I realized I really only needed like every week because not a lot was changing. And I realized the change is slow. It takes like years for maximal effects to be reached, but even looking back on these pictures, which still aren't exactly every week, I did miss some weeks, I still look like me, which I guess is good. I guess I'll wait and see if more changes the next year. The biggest change I guess I can really think of physically is my voice. It dropped fast, it dropped hard. I'm still learning how to sing in the lower register, and it's what my mom comments on the most. And while physically not a lot has changed, I think most has changed socially. And I mentioned my mom because she's always on my mind. And I'm living at home right now as I'm going to grad school for at least the first year. And every time that I try and talk with her about my transition, she just can't do it. She just cries. And it reminds me of where I was just a few years ago, where I literally could not say the word transgender to define myself without choking up and crying, or come out to my parents about my identity because I just couldn't get through all the tears. And now, like, a few days ago, I asked her, hey, if you ever have any questions about, the community, my identity, I want you to ask me. Write me a note, send me a text, because I want you to hear it from me. I don't want you to hear it from the internet or from the TV or from someone else. I want you to hear it from me. And she just started crying, and she said, like, I don't want to talk. I don't want you to see me like this. I can't talk about this right now, is what she was really telling me. And she said that, when it comes up among her and her friends, because she's friends with a number of moms that I went to school with their daughters, who now some of them are also their sons. Whenever it comes up, she says, like, she clams up. Like, she just can't even bring up that I'm also in that community to them. And she said she was sorry that she couldn't speak about it. And I said, you know what? That's okay. I don't care. It doesn't matter that much, because what matters is you're like slowly coming to accept this. And as you come to understand it more, you will only accept it more. And I know she's proud of me and the decisions that I make. And I have faith that she'll one day come to see me as her son, but it's definitely not going to happen anytime soon, and that's okay. And I want her to know that's okay. The same goes for my dad and my brother. And when it comes to my family and extended family, like, I give them the right to not use my correct pronouns and use my old name, because that's something that I'm going to let them do. It's my decision. That's personal for me, because I don't know. It's just how I feel about it. But a positive thing is I'm working at my college too. I'm teaching, and I have this cohort of co-graduates in the MFA program, and I have the teammates and peers and students that I'm professionally out to them, not just as trans, but more so as Jax, he, him, Jax the man, Jax who's male. And it's interesting to hear people call me he. I'm really not used to it yet. It's really still something I'm not used to. And I kind of feel bad about that, but I think it's just going to take getting used to, like, all around. And I especially love the team that I'm on. I play a club sport with my college. And just last month, I was able to compete as a man for the first time. I was in the men's events. It was just so normal. It was great. Like, I was afraid that some referee, some other coach, some other team would say, hey, what's this girl doing on the men's team? And nobody even blinked. Nobody thought it was weird. And nobody challenged me at all. Nobody even stared a little long at me, which sometimes happens. Like, it was just perfect. I get misgendered all the time in public. It just happens. I just present so feminine still. I'm 5'1". I'm very short. And the second I put on, like, a little bit of something feminine, like a pair of shoes or boots, a piece of jewelry or a shirt that's feminine, like it just pushes me right into she-her territory. And I don't blame people for assuming that. Like, we have to work on assumptions, and if they're a stranger and, someone just says, oh, sorry, ma'am, like, it's fine. It's no insult to me to be called a girl, but it's as long as the people who know me know that I'm a man, that's what counts. I think about before I started hormones, I thought I would never do this, or if I did, I would transition after grad school. I would transition after I had financial independence and independent living, and I was away from my home, and I would do it like as a surprise. And the more I think about that now, the more I realize that's just like not the best way to do it. That's not an unhealthy way, but not the healthiest way for me to transition. I think about how it came about, how I just got this email one day that my college's health clinic was getting this program in it. And I took it very literally as a sign from God and a sign from life that it was time to check this out. And it was so much easier than I expected and so much cheaper than I expected. I can't imagine where I'd be right now if I didn't do that. If I had come into college, my grad school, as Jack, she, her, if I had never gone on this journey, just how unhappy I'd be. And I don't regret it, and I think that's important. I don't think I'll ever regret it, because there is a large number of trans people and non-binary people who transition and regret it. It's like, I compare it often to like getting a tattoo. It's something that's a permanent decision. It's very physical and visible. It affects you socially, depending on how much it shows or presents, and it's hard to reverse. And sometimes people do regret their tattoos, but I don't think I'd ever regret transitioning. That's a fear my mother definitely has. I'm just so thankful that the stars aligned just right, that I was able to do this and start my journey where I did. I really just wish I'd started it sooner, That's how I know it was the right decision. Is I was like, damn, I could have started this in middle school or high school. Maybe I would have been taller. Who knows? It definitely hasn't erased all dysphoria. I definitely still get height dysphoria, especially the size of my hands and my feet, and I keep my fingernails long. Like, I am always comparing myself to other men now. I used to compare myself to other women and try and push myself more masculine and look for, like, differences. And now I'm comparing myself to cis men so much, and I'm finding just very subtle differences, like differences I can't really change, like my height or my shoe size or the width of my shoulders or my stupid wide pelvis. And they're things that I'm trying to actively like work at. Like, it's not about what I look like. A man is about what's on the inside. And I am a man. I just don't look like what everyone thinks a man looks like. I think that's true for a lot of trans guys. And I want to show people that that's okay to be just a really feminine man. You're still a man. And it's ultimately about being a good person. I think that your gender identity is secondary to how good of a person you are. But man, if I could just get narrower hips, I'd be a lot happier. It's okay. I've taken to wearing these lifts in my shoes to try and push myself a little bit taller, but I'm still way under an average height for a man in North America. I've definitely changed in the way I've been able to just come out to people about how I'm transgender. What helps is my appearance matters a lot less to the people who know me, because they don't start to see me as what I present as. They see me for me. And if they know that I'm male, they just get that. Like, after a time, it just is like, yeah, I just see you as a man. I found some, I don't know, I wouldn't say difficulty, but definitely something interesting with the way men interact with me now and the way men interact with each other. I'm like relearning how to talk to men as another man, because my teammates especially see me as male, and they are more like, there's just a different way that women and men use their hands to communicate socially that I'm learning about. And like where you hold your hands when you're talking to someone and how you joke with someone, it's so subtly different that I never really noticed it until I'm having to suddenly perform masculinity. And there's so much more physical. There's a lot of posturing. There's a lot of physical comedy. There's a lot of just starting to pick things up and just play catch with each other, especially since I'm, interacting them in a sports context. We just start picking up stuff and just throwing it or rolling it around. And I'm starting to like it. I mean, I guess, I don't know. I just never saw the point in like throwing a ball back and forth. But now it just seems like, oh my gosh, like if we're talking, we may as well just be throwing something back and forth. I've so far not had a lot of problems using the men's bathroom. I feel like by and large they are worse than women's bathrooms, but no one's ever looked at me weird for using the men's room. The only problem I've had is I sit down to pee, and that just kind of gets me sometimes because I know a lot of men sit down to pee, but it just doesn't feel like enough that it doesn't make me feel odd. And I know that standing or sitting to pee doesn't make me a man or not, but sometimes they just pee standing up into the toilet seat and then it gets their urine all over the seat. And then it's like, dude, couldn't you have just waited for the urinal? Couldn't you have just aimed a little better? Because now you've ruined the toilet seat for anyone else who needs to sit down to use it. Ugh, whatever. It is interesting that I'm so used to there being a trash can in the stall with me that whenever I need to like throw something away, like I find something in my pocket, I will just immediately start to like look for that little trash can that's in the stall. Men should really have those. Like they're so convenient. They're really missing out, honestly. I haven't worn makeup as much. I sometimes will wear cover up if I'm getting photographed or in an interview or recording video for some other project I'm working on. But it's something I don't do as often because, like I said, if I just put on like one feminine thing, it pushes me right into feminine territory. And that's not really where I want to be landing, but if it's where I land, so be it. So, as I reflect on this year, I feel there's only better things in the year to come. I got my big gay haircut. I got the short hair. I'm trying to figure out what hairstyle really works best with my face and my height. I'm changing my wardrobe still, buying more and more men's clothes, and I'm loving life. And here's to another year, another 10 years. And here's to all you on YouTube listening to me. Thank you for following me in my journey or just stopping by for a vlog about my transition or a makeup tutorial. I really wish I could post so much more. So, thanks for listening. I'll see you next time. Bye.